The first one I'm going to explain just a bit about
what we're doing.
Yeah. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to this podcast, which clearly we've named already and wasn't just poorly edited and thrown in there. We would never record before we had fully thought something out, clearly.
Not that we don't know what we're doing.
Those of you that have possibly come from our other podcast, this podcast is going to be a little bit different. It is game-focused, very game-focused, where we are going to look at each other's massive Steam libraries, find something the other one hasn't played, and kind of force them to give it a try.
Put a gun to their head.
for an hour. So 60 minutes of play and then reporting back, because we have gotten very much, probably too much, into bundles and free games and cheap games. And so our collections have got a bit out of hand. And I don't know, how many times have we asked each other, oh, you've got this game, what's it like? Well, I haven't even touched it.
Or you're one where you got this game. Have I?
That's much more me. You're so much more aware of what I have than what I am. Yeah. All right. Well, let's start. We decided that this episode, you're going to be talking about the game that you played this week. And what game did you play?
Well, you chose Tesla Effect, the Tex Murphy game. Yeah.
So my first question is, I know a bit about Tex Murphy, and we're going to talk about that, but is this the first one?
No, this is a really old series.
No, but I mean, is this the first one in the series? Because Tex Murphy is a series, so do you know where it falls?
No, it's like this one's like 4 years old, so it's like number, I don't know, 4 or 5. It's
okay.
It's like, right. If you look at the original Texas, they're like 1990s FMV, really pixelated graphics kind of stuff. They're really old.
I do think I still want to play them. But tell us about this game. So what is the Tesla Effect about?
It's basically you are like it's a noir kind of detective game where Tex Murphy is like this private detective and dance instructor. That's very important. That's what it says on his door to his office. Tex Murphy, private investigator and dance instructor. That must be a joke from the earlier games, maybe. But it's set in like a kind of this Tex Murphy that I played anyway. I don't know anything about the other ones, but this one is set in like, it's almost like Blade Runner. It's like a future with flying cars and huge buildings with giant advertisements on them and stuff. So it's all set in like 2050 or something like that.
In the pictures, though, he looks a bit old-fashioned, though.
Yeah, I mean, he is like an old-fashioned, like Chinatown, like detective.
Because they call him. Does he have a Texas accent?
No.
Does he just wear the hat? He has
just
like this big cowboy hat.
Yeah, he's got like the wide-brimmed hat and the trench coat. But no, he's not. Nothing like that.
Okay.
And so the story is basically someone has gone missing. You've been hired to find them. And I can't say much without giving it away, but basically you just interact with people. You've got a few locations that you visit, but mostly it focuses on the kind of FMV aspect. So whenever you visit a bar, you don't actually get to walk around inside the bar. You just get like the guy's face, and you got a bunch of options to pick from, like dialogue. And it's kind of like Grim Fandango in a sense that you just get to go through all the dialogue options. Your choices don't really matter. You just you're there for the ride to like see what everyone has to say.
This isn't like L.A. Noire then, where you have to watch and guess whether they're lying based on their facial expressions.
No, not at all. The only thing it's got in common with L.A. Noire is the kind of, the whole private investigator stuff, and the music really reminded me of like L.A. Noire and Grim Fandango. It's definitely cut from that time. When I first started it, I was like, oh, here we go, because the movie it starts with is pretty good. But then you've got this massive tutorial. It takes like, I wrote it down, it took 11 minutes of nothing. Like, it wasn't that fun because you don't actually get to play. It's just like, here's how you play, but it doesn't let you play. But after you get through that kind of initial startup of the game, it definitely passed the hour test because it got really interesting really quick after that.
So you liked this game then? You thought it was good?
Yeah. I was really surprised, to be honest.
What 3 tags? If you had to give it 3 tags, what 3 tags would you give to this game?
FMV for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an FMV game. Straight off the bat, if you're into that kind of genre, I guess it's a genre. Mm. This is for you because there's not enough of those kinds of games. They don't make them and I can see why. Like even this one is like you can tell it must be really expensive to make these kinds of games.
Also very time consuming.
But yeah, FMV and maybe noir. I suppose it's like a noir detective point and click. So It's definitely there's some part. So it reminded me of.
Is it like Grim Fandango where you actually have to grab something and say try to keep giving it to people? Yes
and no. Yeah. So it's like you pick up stuff. It's more like. Did you ever play the Broken Swords?
I didn't.
So it's more like that where you're constantly combining things in your inventory to make new things. So it's like, I'll combine this gum with this gel to make this, and then I use that on something else. So it's like you're combining unlikely objects together a lot of the time.
But do you actually get to see him fumble around and say, like, these things don't go together?
No, you get to hear, I forget the guy's name. He's you know him. He's the robot from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Well, there are 2 of them.
There's 2 of them.
Kevin Murphy.
Kevin Murphy.
Yeah.
Kevin Murphy in Tex Murphy. Yeah. Yeah. So he's your inventory. It's called the Smart Alec. Mm-hmm. And so, he's your inventory. He's like a computerized thing. And so when you're putting things together, he's got things to say to you like, what are you even doing? Or when you get it right, he just goes, my God. There's some really, I'm not usually one to get obscure references, but I got one from this because he's like, you put these 2 things together. He's like, what are you trying to do? Make an interocitor? And it's like, that is from a Mystery Science Theater that I've seen called This Island Earth. And the interocitor is like some alien technology that they're trying to build. I was like, I get that joke. It's not often that happens. But so you combine a lot of things to do stuff. It is fun. Because, you're not just giving things to everyone or trying it on everywhere. Usually you've got a good idea. Like, there was a thing down a well at one point. I'm like, okay, I need to raise the well somehow. So you're looking for a rope. Oh, I found a rope.
Raise the bucket.
It's like, sometimes it's obvious. A lot of the times it's obvious. And even when you go to the object, it's like, I can't get in here. I'll need a DNA sample. And so you know kind of what you got to do. So it does help you out quite a bit.
Did you continue to play then after the hour? Like that's one of the big marks, right? So you played the hour. Did you keep going?
I got to the hour and because I wanted just to only make notes based on the hour, which is how long I played it for the first time. So after an hour, I stopped taking notes because I wanted just to see how far I got through the game, what was the impression like, and give like an honest hour opinion on it. But yeah, as soon as the hour was done, I stopped taking notes and I continued to play. And so, it was good. It was a lot of fun. In fact, I finished it. I went all the way to the end. And the whole game is I think it took me about 10 or 12 hours. And yeah, it was really fun.
Oh, so you've already finished it.
I finished it.
Yeah, because like my next question would normally be, will you continue to play? But you already have. So I guess in this case, would you play it again?
I don't know, because I think it's the kind of game where once you've finished it, I don't think there are any alternative endings. There is a ranking system at the end that I scored midway on, so I guess I could go back and maybe get the other achievements or raise my rank. Maybe there's another ending. But if I hadn't have just like blitzed through it and played it all in one go, then if we were having this conversation, that would you continue to play it, then definitely I would. But yeah, I mean, the good things about it were like, the inventory system is really nice and easy. The game has tons of Easter eggs. So there's tons of Easter eggs, and they're put in there. Some of them are maybe from the original game. Again, I don't know what are, but like for example, in your bedroom, as a what do you call the thing at the bottom of your bed, like not the chest,
like a footlocker.
Yeah. It's the Ark of the Covenant, and you can lift the lid off a little bit, and then it goes like it rattles around. He's like, yeah, that's the Ark of the Covenant. I got that from some old warehouse. I haven't had the courage to open it fully yet. It's pretty funny. But in the game as well. So for people like me who are new to this series, when you click on objects, you'll get a video of the original game, like a scene from one of the previous games. So like characters. So if there's a poster on the wall of some dude in your office, and you click on it, and it's like his old boss or something like that. So it shows you him like being with this J.K. Simmons kind of hard ass on him, like that. And you just get this little 1 minute clip. And as you go through the game, there are certain objects that play scenes from old games, just to they're old jokes. The whole thing is very Mystery Science Theater. In fact, the writing is really, maybe he was even involved in the writing. It's that level of that kind of sarcasm comedy. If you like that kind of comedy, you'll love this game.
Well, I guess that leads into, would you recommend it?
I would recommend it to, if you're a fan of the point and click kind of genre, then it's definitely got aspects of that. If you like full motion video capture kind of games, because like I said, it's almost like a dying art that isn't done like what we said. It's expensive, it's time consuming. It doesn't happen very often. This is one that's done well. So if you like that, I would recommend it. It's definitely worth a few bucks for sure. There's a couple of problems with the game, though, that I point out.
You want to caution?
Yeah. One thing is, and it's just a minor niggle, is you can't tab out of the game. For me, I couldn't do it. It's if you tab out of the game to chat to someone on Steam, it just went black, and I had to restart it every time. The other thing that I don't like, and I know you don't like this either, is the dialogue wheels. You get 3 options, and none of them make sense, because they don't even tell you what you're going to say. They're just and again, it's not even like Mass Effect where it's Paragon versus, what was the opposite for that? It wasn't Vigilante. It was Paragon and Renegade. That was what it was. It's not even like that. They seem to be randomly placed. Well, I'm a tap dancer. It's but then when you click on it, it's nothing to do with that. I don't know what they were doing. It's almost like they've just put these things in to just pick anything, just click anything. Sometimes you get a hint oh yeah, that's a kind of a nice thing to say, or it should be a nice thing to say, and it is. But other times you're oh, that sounds like a good thing to say, but that's the kind of negative thing, and you're no, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to sound like that, but that's a problem. I didn't like that with the dialogue options.
Did that affect your rating at the end then, do you think?
I don't think so. I think the rating system is probably based on the hints that you take, and I did take hints, because some of the puzzles... Oh, I completely forgot to mention that. The puzzles, it's not just a point-and-click game. There's a kind of whole puzzle aspect to it, almost like an escape room, which was really fun. I really enjoyed that. But some of those puzzles were really hard. I do like that each kind of zone that you go to is kind of a different gaming, what's the word I'm trying to say? A different
game style? Or?
Yeah. And it has a ridiculous bad guy in it. Really ridiculous.
Well, as I now have it in my library, I do look forward to playing this game as well. Like you, I like F&B games and haven't had a lot to play with. I think there are a lot more out there than I realized, though. But, for example, Tex Murphy is something I hadn't even heard of before.
Me either.
So this is all kind of new to me. But I like the fact that they're available, that Steam has made some of the older ones more available, and I'd like to see more happen.
I was thinking, when I was watching that as well, it really made me quite happy, because I was thinking... it's something I want to see more of, especially now that we've got CGI and green screen. You can do anything now. It's back in the day when they were doing that, they were building those sets by hand, and that must have put your costs through the roof to make those games. Now you can do everything on a green screen. I mean, people are using them on their own podcasts or on their own YouTube shows and stuff. It's not that expensive. The possibilities now are endless for this kind of game.
Well, I think for me, it's more about the technology when it comes to the actual gameplay, because now it's so much easier to have this kind of interaction and video and the kind of memory that we're working with on our computers or our consoles even can handle the kind of speeds to make this happen. My experience was the old days of FMV games where it was on a cassette or on a DVD and you had to find the chapter.
Yeah.
And it could be quite easy to find the wrong chapter and get things messed up in the game. Or, on a tape, you were very limited. You basically could do it in a weekend, and then the game's kind of ruined because it is always going to be the same. I'm sure there were some that were probably clever to get around that, but not the ones that I played.
I've always been fascinated by this kind of game. I remember playing, even like for the cutscenes, like Wing Commander. Did you ever play that?
I've not, but I've seen some videos of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not great by today's standard. They've not aged very well, but I remember back in the day going, oh my God, this is amazing. This is incredible. I've always been a fan of that. Like, this kind of game has always interested me. And yeah, I hope that I'd buy another one. Like, now it's on my radar. So it's like, if they're making a new Tex game, I'll definitely be up for playing it.
I don't know how to end this one. Like, we don't have a catchphrase or anything.
Insert catchphrase here.
Buyer's confirmation.
Thank you for listening. If you like what we do here on Buyer's Remorse, we also have another podcast called Filling in the Gaps, in which we take in-depth looks at puzzle games and puzzling movies. Give it a shot. We also have a Steam group.
Steam group is just Filling in the Gaps. Steam page in the community. You can find us there. We do lots of puzzles to solve to win free games. Sometimes we just give them away for free anyway. And you're welcome to join us over there.
If you have any questions for us, suggestions for us, you can reach us. Probably the best way is through email, which is buyersremorsepodcast@gmail.com. No apostrophe in there. Just Buyer's Remorse Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Years ago. The hell is that? Looks like you got injected with something. Maybe that's what's messing with your head. Or maybe it's that goose egg. Either way, buddy, you gotta see a doctor.